Welcome back, everyone. I'm not going to be talking loudly, so I'm hoping you can hear me. We have the most amazing animal here. One of our tracking teams located a ground pangolin. This is insane. We are miles away from anywhere. Look at that, we're in the middle of nowhere. The guys picked up and tracked a ground pangolin. The reason I'm talking softly, and Jandre and I are still about 10 yards from it, is we want to disturb it as little as possible, so it actually continues feeding and doing what it should be doing. So we're just going to have to be really patient. Sometimes you're going to... Sometimes you're going to see it coming out. Sometimes it's going to go into the bushes. This is just going to be a patience game. If it goes and hides away, then we'll go to one of the other reserves and we'll come back again later. But this is so special to find these animals. This is like the unicorn of game viewing. So we're incredibly lucky. It's going to come out. I'm hoping it's going to come out. You can just see the movement by the bush. So what they do, that little animal is actually foraging for ants and termites inside that bush clump. Those of you who joined us this morning, some of you were, some of you weren't. But those ants that we were looking at this morning, that's one of the important species for them. And then we get another genus here called Anoplolepis. Those are very important food items for these little guys. The reason we don't want to disturb them, apart from not being good to disturb an animal, is pangolins and aardvark really battle in winter if you've had a bad summer rainfall season. Now this past one was okay, but the previous seasons we've had have been quite poor rainfall, so there hasn't been a lot of food around for them. So they need a lot of energy, and if they're foraging at night, now it's super cold and there's very little prey items around, so they normally come out late afternoon like this one is, and then they forage. But if it's been a poor rain season, they're actually not going to be able to eat enough to get enough energy, and that's why it's super important that we disturb them as little as possible so they carry on feeding. You know, however amazing it is to see a pangolin, we don't want to disturb them to the point where we're compromising them, same as with any animal. And you can see this one's moving occasionally. We've actually seen his tongue flicking in and out, so it's actually feeding. So we just need to be very patient. And he'll come out into the open just now when he's finished up there. We just need to, like I say, we can't go closer, unfortunately. And Jandre is doing an incredible job here. The poor guy's like standing, it's all handheld, no tripod. I'm ecstatic, I'm over the moon. So they feed, like most of their diet is ants. Now, Alicia, I agree with you. This is absolutely fantastic. I think fantastic is, for me, is like almost an understatement. I mean, you know, in my entire time working in the bush, swallow has consistently produced, of all the places I've worked in, swallows consistently produce pangolins. But it's, even here, it is an incredibly challenging species to locate and follow. And our long-term pangolin researcher, Wendy Paneno, she's been working on these animals for 5 years now. I mean, she knows what they think, what they breathe, what they eat, where they sleep, everything about them. It's just really incredible. But even with that, we're still kind of like scratching the surface in terms of understanding their whole ecology and that. So we've still got a lot of unanswered questions. But this is gold to find these. So even if you go across to any of the other reserves, Jandre and I, we're just going to stick here. We're not going to go anywhere at all. And please feel free to ask questions. This is incredible. I'm like, yes. Rosemary, I love meeting someone with the same kind of humor as me. And some of my friends will cringe when I say that, but I often say that to people, is pangolins look like artichokes. But I do agree with you. And they're just incredible, and I love the way that sun's catching the scales there. And what's really encouraging for Genre and myself to see this is that it's moving around, it's feeding. The moment they're stressed or they're worried, they just roll up into this very tight ball, and that's obviously their protection, and they don't move at all, and they can sit like that for hours and hours and hours. So the fact that this one's like moving from point to point to point inside this thicket, and these little bushes that he's feeding under are called grey camel thorns. A grey camel thorn, because of the leaf colour, they got thorns, and a giraffe enjoy feeding on them, and maybe camels too once upon a time. But the Afrikaans name for a giraffe is a kameelperd, which means a camel horse. So hence the name of this bush, grey camel thorn. And the ants love living inside these little bush clumps. So these pangolins will often go from bush clump to bush clump to bush clump, feeding on them. This is amazing, amazing. And like I say, we mustn't worry that it's got some grass cover in between. I'm more comfortable knowing that we're getting a view of it through some vegetation and not disturbing it, rather than trying to get in on top of it and like having like, oh yeah, here's a pangolin, and it's not doing anything. So yeah, we're just going to spend as much time here as we need. If it's the next 2 hours, that's what we'll do. But this is just, yes, this is incredible to see. I wish you were all here with us. I know you are here with us, but I just wish you were standing here with us. So Steve is doing some birding, and I hope they've actually got their lemon-breasted canary. I think that's a really, really good one for that Punda area.